everyone. My name is Morgan Drayton, Policy and Engagement Manager for Common Cause Maryland. Now that Sine Die is behind us and the 2022 legislative session has come to a close, I wanted to take some time to say hello and to thank you, our CCMD members, for supporting our efforts in Annapolis this year. We're only able to champion these reforms with the help of members like you. This was my first legislative session as a lobbyist and an advocate, and I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to work with our representatives to pass common sense reforms, meeting the public's demand for more accountability and transparency within our government, especially as we enter another critical midterm election year. I decided to take some time and record this video to provide you all with a quick rundown of our 90-day session, in addition to the written legislative review and tracker that have already been shared with you all. So as you can imagine, staff at Common Cause Maryland, like most of our partners, were still working remotely at the start of session due to the pandemic. The House of Delegates was functioning mostly remotely, allowing for advocates and members of the public to testify via Zoom. The Senate had similar protocols for the first 30 days, but changed to a fully in-person model midway through session. So our top priority throughout the pandemic has been ensuring transparency and access to government proceedings. We knew very early on that a potential Senate protocol change would cause confusion and roll back much of the access that we have been advocating for since before the pandemic. And while we were unable to maintain remote access to the Senate for the full duration of session, there were some pandemic era changes that were kept to improve transparency of the process for all, such as allowing for remote witness sign up, as well as continued live streaming of committee vote sessions. And with the help of our partners, we've managed to pull together a transparency advocacy campaign with nearly 300 Maryland organizations joining in on the effort. Moving forward, we'll be working together to lead a campaign advocating for a permanent hybrid process that allows for both in-person and remote participation in the legislative process. Redistricting was our other big priority this session. As we know, the way we draw the boundaries of our voting districts determines the political power of Maryland communities for the next decade. As we also already know, Maryland has long had the reputation of having the worst congressional gerrymander in the country. And with lawmakers drawing our maps, the process remains flawed and does not truly center the interests of residents and communities. We still have a long way to go to tame the gerrymander in Maryland. And while this process this time around was more transparent than previous redistricting cycles, it was clearly still not fair, and both the congressional and legislative maps were challenged. A judge blocked the congressional map from going into effect and ordered lawmakers to draw up a new proposal. That map has since been adopted and signed into law by the governor. And just the other day, the Court of Appeals upheld the legislative map adopted by the General Assembly, which confirms that the primary elections will take place on July 19th. Which we are very much looking forward to. Before I wrap up, I wanted to quickly highlight a few of our other priority bills that thankfully passed this session. SB 163 is legislation that will establish a clear curing process for mail-in ballots. This ensures that election officials are able to check for the presence of the signature oath and identify any errors with the ballot so that they can then notify the voter, and the voter can hopefully fix that ballot so that their vote will be counted in that election. So this process plus language that allows for pre-processing of Maryland ballots will hopefully support our state and local boards of elections in releasing prompt and accurate results to the public on election day. We also had SB 269, which will significantly increase access to and efficiency of state agencies, certain state agencies, by making them subject to enhanced Open Meetings Act requirements. So these agencies will now be required to make meeting materials and agendas available online in advance of their meetings, as well as publicly live stream and archive those streams and meeting materials in case someone needs to access them at a later date. And then finally, we had SB 775, which is legislation that will increase the state per diem for jury service from $15 to $30 for the first 5 days. which will help alleviate some of the financial burdens that are experienced by low-income folks who are hoping to participate in our jury process. So those are just some of our bills that passed this session, and we will continue to fight for reforms like these that make our legislative process more transparent and accessible to all Marylanders. So wrapping up, I just want to say thank you all so much again for supporting our efforts to make a more inclusive democracy here in Maryland. If you have any questions about our work this session, please feel free to reach out. We will be gearing up for the July 19th primary over the next few months, so stay tuned for updates on opportunities to join our election protection efforts in the lead up to that. Thank you again for all that you do. Bye-bye.